What's up, y'all? We are back for another episode of our full site build. In today's episode, we are going to actually build out our service archive, so where all of our services will end up being listed. So let's go ahead and dive into Etch. I'm going to launch Etch. And a lot of what we're going to do today is going to be pulled from our homepage. So for my hero, I want to use the same kind of background like we are in our hero section here. We're going to reuse these cards, which are components. We're going to reuse the customer reviews as well as this CTA section at the bottom. So let's go ahead and in here, I'm going to hover over templates. I'm going to go over to services, click my plus, and I want to go services archive. And from here, we can go ahead and click edit. And you can see my header and footer is already coming in here. Inside my main template is where everything is. In my case, we're not going to have post content because that's not going to be pulling from anywhere specific on this example. So I'm going to delete that, but everything else is going to end up inside of my main container here. So let's start off just adding in a section, and I'll drag this up and in, and I'm going to call this I think I'll just call this basic hero. And in here, I'm going to have to add in a slot. And for this slot, I want that to be up here. And it's not actually let me choose a different slot down here in the elements panel. Interesting. I'm not sure why it's doing that for me. Because that is not what I want to happen here. So I want to be able to add in my section intro, but I'm going to turn this into a component because we'll use this across other pages as well. So I should be able to just add a normal slot here, but for some reason it's not letting me do that. So I think I'm just going to take out my container here, and for now I'm just going to add in my section intro. Now that has a slot at the bottom, which I don't need. So we can close that. And for my main hero, not even let me BEM class that. So let's just go dot basic hero. And in this, I'm going to end up actually going back. I'm going to hit save here. Go to our content hub, to our home page. And from my main hero, I want to copy all of this and bring it over. So from here, navigate back to my templates and edit. And on my basic hero, I'm going to paste this in. Okay, perfect. Now on my section intro, I can go for my primary one, which gives me the light. We're not going to have the pill. It does have a lead. It does not have a slot for my SEO heading. We'll call this services. And then for our marketing headline, we'll go with just something basic for now. Again, I don't have the full copy all done for this, but we'll just put something in for the time being. And in this case, we'll just go with high quality plumbing and HVAC services in Kansas City. And I'll go and put my span here. Just like that. Perfect. I'm pretty happy with spacing on that. I may, if anything, drop down my sizing just a little bit on, let's go padding block of section space S. I like that a little bit better. Pulls it in just a little bit tighter. I'm going to click save. Now, normally I would turn this into a component, but I'm not going to do that yet. And actually, that's probably why I can't add a slot. Got to do things in the right order. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to bring this outside of this. I'm going to turn into create component. And then in here, now I can add my slot and it works properly. We'll just call this intro. And I'm going to hit save and exit. And now here is where I can drop in my intro and everything works properly. There. So now I can always access both. If I had to add anything else to this, I could create some props for it, and I can still access the props for this one as well. This is how it is recommended to nest components inside of other components at this time. Okay, I'm going to hit save. Next, I'm going to add in, what I think I'll probably do is just copy over some of my other sections. So I'm going to add another section here. I'm going to hit save, and actually I probably can do this easier way. Content hub over here. We want the reviews section. We're going to copy this back over. And there will be a new and better way to do this eventually. Right now, you just kind of got to go back and forth and copy and paste everything over. It's not the most ideal way, but for now, it does work. Okay, we got that in there. I hit save. I'm going to go back to my content hub, jump back over. We want the CTA section. I'm going to copy that. Jump back over to my template. Right click and paste. That's at the bottom. So we got our review section and our call to action section. Perfect. Now I'm going to take this section and we're going to move it up in here. And we'll call this our services. I want to make sure I don't call it the same exact thing that I called this section down here. Let's take a quick look at this one. We went with service section there. So I want this to be a little bit different. Let's go with our services. Set this to an inner, and inside of here I am going to create I'm going to add in a div. I'm trying to think how I want to best do this. I also want to add in my section intro up here. On my section intro, I'll stick with the secondary. I think to make it a little bit different, I'm going to go with a pill, and I'll go with a wrench here. For my SEO heading, we went with services here. Maybe we'll go with our services. And you know, the other thing I thought of up here is this is going to be an H2, so I'm going to have to fix that in order to allow us to set that as an H1. Or maybe what I'll do, actually I might end up pulling the section intro out of here and just manually entering those, but leaving that as the basic hero. That's probably what I'll come back and do here in a little bit. But back on this section intro, our services, view the full list of services below. I think on this one, we didn't actually put in a lead here. Something like serving the greater Kansas City metro area. Keeping homeowners happy since 1999. Something like that. And I think down here, I'm not going to include a lead. I think I just want to go with this. Here, I'm going to put my span around services. Okay, so inside my inner and my div, we're going to end up making a list. And I have to think how I want to best do this. Because what's going to happen if we think about this on our regular, each of these are a parent service with children's services. So I'm going to have to end up putting multiple loops in with a nested loop in order to get the proper thing. So instead of making a table or tabs like we did here, I'm just going to go down the page and list them out. So from here, I'm going to call this my services. We'll just call this parent list UL, and inside that we'll go parent list items, and that'll be an LI. Inside our parent list items, we'll have to add in another div. I don't know that I'll need another wrapper on this, so we'll just go child list, and this will be a UL. And inside here, another div, child list item, li, and then in here is going to be our service card. Okay. I'm going to come back up to the top here. I'm going to create my BEM classes, and let's start styling everything out here and get this how we want it. So for our parent list, I think I'm just going to stick with a flex column. I'm going to go container gap just to space them out a little bit. And let's see here. Inside of my parent list item, I also need a heading. And our heading should be an H3. Okay. Which means my service cards should be H4s, and I don't recall if that's what we ended up doing on these. Let's take a look. Nope, these are H3s. So we'll have to make some variations of these as well. Okay, so let's take a look here. On my parent items, I am going to wrap this in a loop. And if we remember, we had services. For my heading, we're gonna go item dot title. Gotta put the dot in there. Okay, so we got plumbing, water heaters, drain cleaning, heating contractor, air conditioning contractor. Okay. Inside here, I want to go flex column. With a content gap. Okay. And then for my child items, we're gonna have to go with wrap in a loop. And this loop is gonna be our service child. And this one we have to pass in our ID. So if we remember, this is gonna be $parent, and it's gonna be item.id, if I recall. And I think I'm going to change this to child on this one, just so it is different. Okay, so we got a bunch of those added in. inside our list here, we're going 2 across. I think in this case, I'm going to go 3 across on this. So let's go with a grid. We're going to have to do a hasme, a container query. Say anything over 997 for now is going to be grid. Can't type today. Template columns of grid 3. Perfect. And gap of grid gap. Okay. I like that. Obviously, we're going to have to add in a couple more options here. I'll go 450 or 2 rem of 450 pixels is less than or equal to the inline size, which is less than our 997. So as we shrink that down, it'll drop to a grid 2. Did I not do that properly? As long as our container is greater than 997, it should be grid 3. If it's less than 997 but bigger than 450, should be grid 2. But it's jumping to grid 1. Hit save on that. We'll come back to it in a minute. On my service card, I want to go child dot title. Description is going to be child dot metabox dot I feel like it was short description, or I think it was service overview maybe. Let's try that. There it is. My CTA I'm going to leave, and my link is going to be child dot permalink dot relative, and my icon child dot metabox dot icon. Service icon. Let's go back and take a look. On this we did service icon, yep. And we did the service overview. And we might need to do .url on this, and there we go. Okay. Should be good there. One thing I want to double check is, did I make these accessible? Oh yeah, we put the link up on those, so we are good on that. Okay. Hit save. I'm gonna hit refresh here. Up here, I am going to open in a new tab. And this one, we're just going to services. Okay, so we got some things to figure out here. That section is the gray background. And so is that. Okay, we will just probably have to make another version of these cards. I do want to double check some of this stuff and see if it's still dropping down incorrectly here. Let's figure out why. I feel like these may need to go the other way. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to hit enter. It's going to break things for a second. But if I do 997 and put it here, and do this, and delete that one. And let's see here. I might have an extra. There we go. 2 and down to 1. I'll probably say we need to drop it down. I'm going to say 600 instead of 450. And I feel like that'll work a little bit better, so it doesn't get too squished as we go down, and we're good. Okay. So we got our grid of 3 there. Our list. I think what I'll probably do is on my heading here, I need to add in a class today. Okay. And here I want our font size to be H3, or sorry, H2. And I want my color to be secondary. Just gives it a little bit extra color outside of it. Okay, let's take a look on the front end again. And we might actually be okay on these cards because we have the box shadow on it. And I think we're actually okay on that. Okay. I like that. And even though we have the white background here in the section and white cards, because we're using that box shadow, they still stick out on the page. I think we're good here. One thing I'm not going to do right now is, because of how I have this set up, my actual parent page is going to serve more like a archive page. So when someone goes up in the heading and clicks all plumbing services, they'll land on a page that's going to look very similar to this, except it's only going to show the plumbing items. It's not going to show any of the water heater, drain cleaning, or any of that. And I may add a bit more content about the plumbing services and that category. Because again, I'm treating these parent ones as the main Google profile or business profile category, and then these are all the actual services within that category. So that's why I'm treating this a little bit differently like this. So I'm not actually going to link to the plumbing page from here because I can already see all of these services right now. So that's just a heads up of why I'm doing that. Okay, let's go up to our hero. Make sure I hit save again. I'm going to close this section. I'm going to go to my basic hero and edit component. And inside here, I am going to add in my container. Inside my container, I'm going to add in a heading, text, and text. I'm going to take out my slot because we're no longer needing that. I'm going to leave that in for a second though, because I want to be able to go back out and change this. So first thing I'm going to do is change this to a dynamic element, and I'm going to create a select prop, and we'll call this heading level H1 H2, and I don't think it's ever going to need to be anything besides that. I don't even know that we'll need an H2, but I want to have this be here just in case. So on this element, I'm going to go props dot heading level, and you can see it changes to an H1 there. On my container, I want to set this as inner. This will be my marketing headline. This will be my lead, and this will be my SEO heading. So I'm going to BEM class this again, and it actually, okay, it does let me do it this time. Perfect. So on my basic hero, we're good there. On my inner, I want to go to flex column, top, and center. Happy with my spacing. Here, I want to go color of white. And I'm going to end up doing that on all of these. Hit save. One thing I want to double check here is if I inspect this, text transform of uppercase on that, and we didn't set a max width on here. We did 30 characters. Max inline size of 30 ch. We need to go font size of H1. Font weight of heading font weight. And we were not uppercase on that, just on that one. Text transform of uppercase. We want this to be font size of text M and font weight of 600. Okay. On my lead, I think we did a max inline side of 60 ch. Let's go ahead and add in our text. Okay, we'll target those. Okay. And I broke it. Okay, let's try this again. Should not be props.lead. This one should be props.seo heading. This one should be props.marketing headline, and then the lead props.lead. Okay. On my SEO heading, this I should actually go with my primary color. Now, similarly to our section intro, we may want to actually end up putting in the ability to remove the lead or the different headings. I don't know that I'm going to need that yet, so I'm going to hold off on doing that until I know I'm going to need that. So I'm going to hit save. I want to exit, and part of the reason I wanted to do that is because I can take all of this and copy it over. And I'm going to have to fix that span in here. Okay. I can take out my section intro here. I'm going to hit save on my I'm going to edit my component here. My slot I want to take out because I don't need that anymore. On my marketing headline, I need to convert this to raw HTML. And we also need to set up our span coloring of color of primary. Okay, let's take a look. And one of the other things I think I want to do on all of these is set my text align to center. Okay, let's exit. Perfect. My lead never actually finished going in there. Let's see if I can steal it from here. Interesting, it's not actually letting me copy that off the page. All right, there. We got that in here. Let's go ahead. We hit save, back to our front end. Hit refresh. Okay, I want to bring in my sizing a little bit. Inspect, we're at 30 characters here, and we probably want to go to 20. And let's see a text wrap of balance. $22. I'll go with 22 and balance that I need to add on that. Okay. I should probably also add the text wrap balance to my lead. Okay, save. Double check on the front end here. And I wonder if I'm running into an issue on my inner, because I need to go z index of 1. So it comes to the top. Feel like there might be something. Yep, that solved it. Cool. All right. So this is our H1. This is just a marketing heading, our lead. This is our H2. These are H3s, and I need to fix these to be H4s. Okay. Let's hit exit. Come down to my card, which is here. I'm going to edit component. Let's add in a select heading level. Again, we'll go H3 and H4. I want to keep H3 as the default for all of these. And if I go down to my heading, I can convert this to my dynamic element, and we're going to go props dot heading level. I'm pretty sure I spelled that right. Okay. Just going to copy this just to be safe here. Okay, and it's probably not showing because on the we need to see it on the front end. Oh, there it is. Okay, cool. I'm leaving my styling the same on those regardless because I want them to look the same. Just semantically, I need to change it potentially. So in our case, these all need to be set to H4s. And one thing I noticed here is it doesn't let me scroll. Okay, so we got those set. All right, I actually do need to style those then. Okay, we'll go ahead and edit component again. Go back to our element here. Font size of H3. And I think that's all I'm gonna need because it's gonna have the font weight regardless. So let's leave it at that. And you can see we're back. Okay, perfect. And those are all already set to article, so we don't have to change anything there. And I think I'm pretty happy with this. Again, when we reuse a lot of the same stuff, it makes it a bit easier. You'll notice I don't have content in for all of these things yet, and that's okay. But we're reusing a review section. We're reusing our CTA section. I may come in down the line at some point and add in maybe some call outs in between here, but I think this is what I'm going to stick with. And I will set up my copywriting a little bit better at some point as well. But I just wanted to get something in there so that we can see what it looks like. I think maybe next we'll go into the actual service page, or maybe I'll build out the parent version of what we just looked at, which again is going to be very, very similar. I'll actually probably copy pretty much everything we just built, except I'm going to add in some additional content probably between the heading and the actual service list, and then maybe some additional copy to go in at the bottom. But if we go back, like I would put a little more copy in between here and the cards, and then some after them as well. And I may end up doing that on our page here as well, just to get some more relevant copy in here. But this is the start. And we'll kind of go from here. Let me know if you guys have questions down below. Drop a like, drop a comment, subscribe if you have not. Let me know what you guys would like to see throughout this build out. I'm happy to kind of drop in a lot of different tutorials based on what people are seeing, as long as it makes sense for what I'm building out here. But again, hopefully this has all helped, and we'll see y'all in the next video.